Pain point number one is fear-based decision making. So when uncertainty is high, leaders and teams operate in survival mode. And so that really does lead to exhaustion and burnout, and or decision paralysis. So, as humans, sometimes we do fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. And so sometimes that freeze is, what do we do? As opposed to, well, I'll talk about some of those solutions of how to move out of that phase as well, too. And reactive leadership instead of strategic thinking. So it might be that leaders default to short-term fixes rather than long-term solutions, or kind of looking at the bigger picture of how it might affect you, but maybe some other departments, some other areas. And then there is a fear of failure. It stifles action and innovation. So when you're in fear mode, when a human is in fear mode, they can't be innovative. They can't think of, okay, what's plan B? What's plan C? What else can we do? And so, or employees might fear of, their own job loss or negative repercussions just by sharing some of their thoughts of what needs to happen. So here are some action steps, some possible solutions. So really shifting from fear to strength, because that's the topic here, is really about leading with strength, internal strength, leadership strength, leading with belief in what you do, and having strategic self-care. Really, as leaders, you need to model that self-care as a leadership skill, and really recognizing that clarity and confidence come from being renewed. And so encouraging that for your team members as well, too. And prioritize rest and clarity as best you can. Because sometimes if you are short-staffed, people are being laid off, there's just more work for the people that are still there. And finding out if you're the leader and you're sending emails at 10 o'clock at night and you're exhausted, and you're actually demonstrating that to your team, that's okay. So it's about just being aware of your own behavior as well, too. And then really develop that discipline to pause before reacting. Instead of making impulsive decisions out of fear, practice that deliberate, well-paced decision making. And so between stimulus and response, something external is happening, you just got a notification, what do you do next? So giving yourself that space as opposed to jumping right in. That's also part of emotional intelligence, is paying attention to what happens when you get triggered. Maybe it's about some new news. Maybe something happened on one of your job sites or one of your sites, whatever it might be, to really step back and see what actually happened. As a matter of fact, yesterday, Charlotte and I were in a training program with the Department of Transportation, and the director popped in to say hi. I asked him how he was. He goes, "Oh, I'm a little triggered right now. I just heard some news." And so I had a nice conversation with him and suggested some tools to really help him let go of that upset inside of him. But he recognized it. So he hadn't done anything yet. But there are some tools that can definitely help people move through those stress areas as well, too. And then really creating a culture where self-care is valued. Having your teams, see the breaks and reflection and well-being are essential. So self-care is not selfish. It is necessary. So whatever you're doing as a leader, for your self-care, maybe getting a good night's sleep can just be sometimes the basics. Or really, if you need to stop watching the news because it's going to continue to trigger you, taking those steps, but creating a culture around that as well, too.